All right, back from the farmer's market, the Baltimore farmer's market, with actually three kinds of eggs. Don't forget, I went and visited one, the hen's nest. They cage their birds. They feed them a corn and soy diet. The other, KCC Farms, they feed a vegetarian diet, and they're in Italian hen houses. Now, my goal is not to make judgments on animal cruelty or how the animals are treated. Both of these farmers, I assure you, they love their animals. They treat them very, very well. But again, that's not our discussion here today. Our discussion is which is the best egg, which yields the best, between how they're raised, what they're fed, what's the best egg. So we're going to take grocery store eggs, the two eggs I got at the farmer's market. Let's run them through an egg Olympics of sorts. The first is a spread test. We're going to crack them on a plate and see how far they spread. All right, with my three different kinds of eggs, and so I don't get confused, I've marked them H for the hen's nest. These white ones are from the grocery store, K for KCC Farms. And the difference in cost between them, from the grocery store, $1.99 a dozen, from the hen's nest, $3.50 a dozen, and from KCC Farms, $5 a dozen. So a good difference in price here. Let's see the difference in quality. First, let's take one from the hen's nest. These are caged animals that are fed a corn and soybean diet. Give it a crack on the plate. Lay the egg out that way and look for the amount of spread. Let's take our grocery store, regular white egg. Crack it on the plate. And lastly, our KCC Farms egg. Oops. Sticky with that white there. All right. This is my handy dandy ruler, and it looks like the cage-raised animal on grain, on corn, spread pretty much the width of the plate. That's about 5 inches or so. My grocery store egg, yeah, look at how watery this is. When I move the fresh farm egg back and forth, look at that white there. It stands up nice and high. Can you see how high that yolk stands up, and I get that white, that albumin that stands up nicely? When I look at my grocery store egg, even though I got a little bit of shell in there, look how watery that is. It sloshes all the way around, and the white on the yolk here is only about 3 inches wide. When I look at the white where the yolk is sitting on my caged egg, this is about 4 inches wide. One of the ways to tell a fresh egg is how high it sits on the plate when you crack it. Lastly, our KCC Farms egg, again, about 4 inches, and it's running around the plate a little bit more too. So from our crack test, it actually seems that the egg from the caged animals that were fed soy and corn actually has a much better appearance when we crack it on the plate. All right, 3 omelet pans on the stove. First thing, I got to make sure they're hot. And how do I do that? Well, with a little bit of water on my hands, I can tell, whoa, that one's real hot. I can tell that the pan is at least 212 degrees, the temperature at which water evaporates, and of course an egg starts cooking at 165 degrees, coagulation of proteins. First, the one with the H on it, from the hen's nest. Crack that right into the pan. Keep some of the shell. I've got tilty pans here. All right, next one, the store-bought egg, the white egg from the store. That'll go into the pan. Thirdly, KCC Farms, the Italian hen house vegetarian fed egg. All right, caged, grain fed. You can see the spread we got in the pan a little bit. I had a little bit too much heat in the pan, but you see how the yolk kind of flattened out a little bit. The white stayed really white and nice. Here's our grocery store egg from some factory farm somewhere. Look how small that egg is. Look how the yolk just ran all over the place. And lastly, our vegetarian fed egg that are in hen houses. That looks like the picture of an egg from a magazine. Look how that didn't spread under the heat. Look how high that yolk is. Look how white it is as well. So from appearance standpoint, between my grain-fed caged grocery store, probably injected with antibiotics and steroids, and my local egg that is vegetarian fed from a hen house, you see the difference in the spread. What's important about the spread is the fact the amount of protein that's in the egg. The coagulation of protein is very important. we've done a crack test. We've seen the spread of the eggs, the difference in the spread. We've seen the difference in the color of the yolks, and that has to do with what the animal is fed. We've seen how it reacts to heat. Some of them spread a little further. Some of them just about disintegrate entirely. Some of them stand up real high and nice. Here's the ultimate test. What do they taste like? So I got myself a plastic fork because I've got Teflon pans here and I don't want to ruin that. First, let's try the egg that is grain-fed and caged, a little bit of the yolk. It's got a creamy yolk. It's got a very mild taste to it. Good, but nothing standing out to me right now. Grocery store egg, I hesitate to eat. I know this is supposed to be fair, but I haven't eaten a grocery store egg in a long time. I don't get the same flavor from the yolk. I don't get the same creaminess. From the white, it actually tastes kind of watery. Where with this egg, I can almost taste what the chicken ate, which I know is soy and corn, but at least I'm getting a earthy flavor, if you will. The grocery store egg really doesn't taste like much more than water to me. The last egg, which is fried up so nicely, the yolk still staying high, still wet, hasn't dried out. Let's try the hen house raised vegetarian fed egg. That has more of an egg flavor to me. It's got a creamy yolk, and it's got a flavor of the earth. And you've seen me do videos before, especially in Paris, when they talk about terroir. Terroir, the farm, the soil, the sun, the love of the farmer. Terroir is a local production from your area. A lot of people insist that items that are grown in the soil near your area have the minerals, have the nutrients, have the antibodies that you, being from that area, need. This third egg is by far my preference, just in a taste factor. Is there a difference between the grocery store eggs and the farmer's market eggs? Absolutely. This one tasted like water. It spread all over the place. It was a dull color. It was very watery. I'm not buying eggs from the grocery store. The difference between a caged animal that was fed with grain and a hen house animal that was fed vegetarian diet, not a big difference. It comes down to your personal preference. My preference was for the vegetarian diet egg because I felt like the yolk was a lot creamier. I tasted earth and earthiness in there. The white of the yolk was very glassine. It was very moist still and didn't dry out. But this comes to a personal preference. The conclusion in all this: go to your farmer's market, buy from the local farmers, help your local community. Don't add items that have potentially had steroids, antibiotics, things like that. Doesn't help your local community. It doesn't help the earth. It doesn't help your body either. From the farmer's market, whether you prefer your animal to be fed grain and caged, and these were $1.50 less per dozen than these were, or whether you prefer your animal be in a hen house and fed vegetarian, this is entirely up to you. But seek out new food products. Find the best ingredients, and you'll find that you really don't need to overcook it. You don't need to add a lot of seasonings. You don't need to add heavy sauces and spices when you start with the best ingredients.